We're back with more unhinged Reddit stories, and this is a pretty special episode because today's guests are Ian and Anthony. Wow.
Wow. The two of us on one couch? It's been a bit.
Two of us, one couch.
Two boys, one couch.
One cup.
6 feet apart because, no, I'm just kidding.
If you missed the last like 3 videos that have come out over the week.
This is going to be very weird if you've been away or something on vacation.
Yeah. Anthony and I bought Smosh.
We own Smosh again.
So Anthony's back, baby.
And we own this again. And for those of you who don't know, Ian and I created the Smosh YouTube channel together almost 18 years ago.
Yeah.
And now it's been 6 years since I had left, and now I'm back, baby.
Hell
Back,
yeah.
baby.
I'm back, baby.
I'm back, baby.
Let's go.
And now we're gonna listen to some f***ed up Reddit stories.
All right. All right. All right, let's hop into this first story.
All right.
I'm curious if this will be relatable at all for you guys.
Oh,
Is it about friendship or something?
I don't maybe.
Is it about one person leaving a company and really not talking to the other person for multiple years and then coming back together and then now they're reunited again?
Well, let's see.
I did post that on Am I the Asshole?
This is just your story?
Am I the asshole for trying to reconnect with my childhood best friend?
Did you? Is this you? Did you do this? Okay, let's see. I'm going to get some context.
I don't know
clues.
how you'd be an asshole for that, but I guess we're about to find out.
Yeah.
All right.
True.
So this is a 26-year-old woman. I am marrying the love of my life, and we've begun wedding preparations. While making the list, I reminisced over my childhood best friends, specifically my old best friend, Mona, who's also a 26-year-old woman, and decided that I'd like her to attend. To explain, Mona and I were best friends growing up. We shared the same childhood friends despite me living out of the city for most of the year with my father and only being in the same state for a few months of the summer. We had a falling out partway through high school and she ceased to talk to me. I told my fiance that I wanted to reconnect with Mona, so I reached out to our mutual childhood friends and asked if they still kept in touch. One of them did and gave me her number. I texted and said I was in town and wanted to meet up to catch up and talk. Fast forward a few days, Mona's come to meet my fiance and I at a local shop for coffee, and I introduced them and told her that I'd like her to attend my wedding. She stared at me and said that she wasn't expecting my wedding to be the topic of catching up. She coldly said that she thought I had reached out to apologize about what happened when we were younger. I was confused. She callously said, in front of my fiance, that she stopped talking to me and cut contact with me because of what happened with her boyfriend when we were in high school. My fiance asked what happened, and she told him that I kissed her high school boyfriend during a summer that I was in the state and stole him from her, leading her boyfriend to dump her over text. She went on to say that if I didn't have an apology, she wasn't interested in speaking with me. She excused herself and paid for her meal. When we got home, I was fuming that Mona was still upset by something that I couldn't even remember and that she misconstrued. My fiance told me that I didn't mention this stealing boyfriend thing and asked if I ever apologized for it. I admitted that at the time I didn't, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal. We were kids, it was a high school relationship, they were only dating for 8 months, and he made the first move. My fiance told me I was the asshole. I think otherwise because it was literally a blip of time so long ago, and I assumed Mona would have understood my side. It was over 10 years ago. We were 15. Am I the asshole?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like how she's like, just get over it.
Yeah.
It was only 240 days of your life with this person.
Yeah. It was nothing. That was some quick math. I feel like it's not that big of a deal to just apologize at that point.
Yeah.
No, go for it.
It sounds like she just doesn't want to apologize now. She's like, hey, it wasn't that big of a deal. But yet, if it's not that big of a deal, then why can't she apologize?
That's my thinking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's also just kind of weird that, like, she doesn't, like, she's like, it's not a big deal. We were so young. Like, that somehow negates the fact that it does sound like she stole that person's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't even remember it. Like, for you, this was a big day of your life, but for me, it was Tuesday.
it's also specifically they stopped being friends because of this incident.
Yeah.
This was the last time
So
they talked.
why doesn't she realize that? Why doesn't she connect those dots?
I feel like because that's the simple thing of coming back and be like, hey, I know we ended on weird terms, and I'm so sorry about that, but we're different people now.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see what our friendship could be now. I feel like that's your easy in.
And that's simple. How long would that have taken? 20 seconds?
It was just like, yeah.
And she's also like, she misconstrued this thing that I don't even remember at all. So how could you know that she misconstrued it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I don't remember this thing that you're getting completely wrong about.
Yeah.
It also feels like she's kind of not really caring about this friend and more like wanting the nostalgia factor for her wedding, maybe? Like,
It's like what her friend represents to her.
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, memories. I want to have those at my wedding. I'll throw
Yeah.
those in there.
Yeah, like
without
you're,
actually
like
considering.
you're a freaking prop.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, just like a little collectible.
Yeah. When we reconnected, I should not have bothered, communicating or apologizing for any of our history, and I should just
No.
get over it.
Yeah, get over it. It was, look, yeah, we worked together for 12 years. Who cares?
Yeah, we were-
Get over it.
There's some comments here. It was over a decade ago, and also it was her who was hurt, not me. So surely she must be over it by now. That's someone doing quotes.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
she's saying. Someone says, still upset by something I couldn't even remember, and that she misconstrued. Girl, pick a side because that just gave me whiplash. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As you pointed out.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens a lot in these Am I the Asshole stories. They trip up over their own words, and they'll.
Because they're not telling the truth.
Yeah,
They're not
she,
being completely.
She either does remember it. She probably does remember it. Though,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Yeah, they're just not being reliable narrators.
She literally knew that they were dating for 8 months, that he made the first move, all of these. She remembered all these specific details.
Yeah.
She vividly remembers this.
Yeah.
I think she also saw this as an opportunity to just kind of like let this guilt float away and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Well, even posting it was her trying to get other people to be on her side about it,
Right.
so she didn't feel any.
Exactly.
She's just not
Think about
accepting responsibility.
Did she do any follow up or anything?
No follow-up on that
She
one.
was like, did not get the
No.
support that I needed. Going
No, I
somewhere
think
else.
she was, the verdict was asshole, so I think she left. I think
Yeah.
she was done. And that got cross-posted on Am I the Devil, which is where the worst Am I the Asshole stories go.
I wouldn't qualify it as the worst. Not anywhere near.
Just ones where they're clearly the person posting is
Yeah.
clearly the asshole.
Yeah.
And our next story was also cross-posted on Am I the Devil, so
Ooh, okay.
let's check this out. Am I the asshole for hosting an alternative reception for my daughter's vegan and alcohol-free wedding?
Huh.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
My daughter and her fiance are planning on having a vegan and alcohol-free wedding, which caused an uproar within our family.
What you need the alcohol there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Many of our family members and friends are meat eaters and enjoy having a drink or two, and they feel uncomfortable and unaccustomed to the restrictions being imposed on them. They feel like they won't be able to fully enjoy the wedding and that it is not a true representation of who they are. I understand my daughter's choices and respect them.
Beer.
I respect my daughter's choices, but I also want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable and happy. After much discussion with my family and friends, I decided to host an alternative reception at my house where meat and alcohol are going to be served for those who are unhappy with my daughter's reception. I made it clear that this is an optional event and that everyone was welcome to attend or not. Many guests are choosing to attend the alternative reception instead of my daughter's reception, which is making her feel completely distraught and angry. She thinks that I have disrespected her and her partner's choices and is accusing me of trying to sabotage her wedding. I told her that this is not the case and that I am simply trying to provide the wedding guests with more options. She insists that I should have supported her decision and made sure that everyone was comfortable with it. My daughter is threatening to disinvite me and my husband from the wedding if I do not cancel this alternative reception, and I am now unsure if I am doing the right thing. I want to make sure that everyone is happy, but I also don't want to create an unnecessary rift with my daughter. Am I the asshole for hosting an alternative reception?
I have lots of thoughts.
Yeah.
The fact that it was competing, that's my biggest issue, is that it was competing.
I don't think it's like, see, I don't see them as competing things, but I have an issue with the people that went okay, I'm just not going to go to the actual wedding and I'll just go to this party instead.
Right.
That's my issue.
I thought it was.
I
What?
think that's where the competing is coming in.
Yeah.
It's the same time.
It's at the same
Wait, it's at the same time.
That's,
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Whoa.
That's where it's stealing. It's not, hey, there's this additional thing the next night or later.
There's no fucking way. That would be insane. That would be an asshole thing to do.
That's why I have lots of thoughts.
I mean, look, receptions typically happen right after the ceremony.
Yeah.
It feels weird to be like, oh, here's a reception that's happening a day later. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's plenty of people that will do like, if their partner is from like the East Coast and they're from the West Coast, they'll do a wedding and reception on the West
Sure,
Coast,
and
then
then a
they'll go
reception.
to the East Coast and do a reception there.
sure.
like-
But either way, like, many guests are choosing to attend the alternative reception instead of my daughter's reception. I don't know. Either way, it feels like this is clearly pulling away from the daughter's
Yeah.
plans. For me, what sums it all up is I'm unsure if I'm doing the right thing. I want to make sure that everyone is happy. My opinion is that I'm like, it's your daughter's wedding. If she's not happy, then you failed.
Yeah.
I don't care about everyone else.
Also, the daughter already expressed she's not happy.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
she told
And then you go on Reddit to see if everyone's happy? Like,
Yeah, I need to make sure everyone on the internet is happy too.
Well, and I feel like this happens a lot with weddings where like, I'm not saying it's just the moms, but I have heard many times moms will like, invite a bunch of their friends that have nothing to do with the bride at all. And they're like, Mom, I don't even know these friends that you're inviting, but it's like, they're just doing it because like they want like,
People to hang out with.
yeah, that. And it's just like, they just want to have like a good time.
My issue is that this person knows that it's taking away and that it's making their daughter unhappy. So I think that's where the decision should be obvious, regardless of if it's at the same time or not. Like, that doesn't matter. The fact that they're saying people are choosing this instead of that, I think is just a clear indication to like not do it or make it
Right.
a different day or switch it or tell the people, if you're coming to my thing, you have to go to my daughter's thing. Sorry, that's the rule.
Right. If the daughter's threatening to disinvite you from the wedding, it's like, all right, you've made your message clear. I'm canceling this thing.
Yeah.
It's fine. There's some comments here. Someone said in quotations, many guests are choosing to attend the alternative reception instead of my daughter's reception. Instead of, your daughter absolutely nailed it. You are upstaging/sabotaging your own daughter's wedding reception because you and your family can't go a couple of hours without meat and alcohol. So a bunch of selfish, self-absorbed, alcoholic assholes who hate vegetables too much to celebrate someone on their big day. I'd go no contact with you for this stunt. Congratulations, you definitely just destroyed your relationship with your daughter. You and your family sound absolutely insufferable though, so you're definitely doing her a favor. You're the asshole.
Damn.
Woo, that was rough.
That's brutal.
Damn!
I mean, like, it is really, I did really love that line that the mom had about, like, like, not drinking and not eating meat just doesn't really align with people's culture. And it's like, so you're saying, like, their culture is, like, getting f***ed up and eating hot dogs? Like, it's, like, not enough of an excuse. Like, yeah, I mean, like, look, like, at my birthday party, like I wasn't drinking during that time, and everyone was like bringing alcohol. Everybody was drinking, and like at the beginning of the night, I was like, oh man, this is gonna like kind of suck because I'm not gonna be like on the same like level as everyone. And then like as the night like progressed, I was like, oh, I'm just like enjoying my time with my friends, and like
Yeah.
even if I'm not drinking, it doesn't matter. Like
Totally.
I got some Topo Chico.
Totally.
all you
I'm
need.
set.
Someone else said, the wedding isn't about your family. It's about your daughter and her husband. Y'all can't live without meat and alcohol for one f***ing evening. You're the asshole, and so is the rest of your family. This wedding is a representation of your daughter and her future husband. Why should it be a representation of the rest of of the family? Spoiler, it shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I know weddings. I know there's plenty of weddings that are dry weddings and stuff. And it's like, it's one night. Like, who cares? Whatever. It's about them. They're allowed to dictate what they want. I'm always going to prefer. If I don't really know the person and I get invited to a wedding and I find out there's not going to be alcohol, I may not go.
Yeah.
If I don't really know. If it's like, oh, a friend of a friend and they're inviting a bunch of people, I'd be like, okay, yeah. Oh, no alcohol. Nah, I'm out. But
But your daughter.
But oh my God, like if anyone close, any of my family, I'm going no matter what.
Yeah.
And sometimes like events like that, I don't want to drink too much. Like
Yeah.
I like to kind of stay aware and have a good time and be present. Anthony, do you ever struggle, like as a vegan, do you ever struggle with events and stuff that don't serve any vegan food? Have you had, I feel like in LA that issue doesn't arise too much.
No, I mean, I deal with it a lot, but then usually I'll just eat the salad or I'll pick around, like, I don't know. It's like, if I'm going to an event, I'll assume that they're not going to have many options, and that's okay. I'll just mentally prepare to eat something afterwards. It's not that big of a deal to me.
And you got that. You always have like a protein bar on you.
I usually
feel like-
carry protein bars on me just as backup,
Yeah.
just to like have something, get some protein, and not feel like all I can think about is food.
Yeah, do you think the daughter would have been upset if all those family members just had a flask on them?
A flask
like
and a
this-
turkey leg around, like tied around the hip, like with some rope. They're fucking Vikings.
Stuffed into their pants? Like, oh my God! Don't worry, it's not my bulge, it's a turkey leg.
Also, I wonder, like, if it was a dry wedding, then if it's somebody, like, if the groom or bride is, like, sober, has, like, an issue
That's
with
true.
alcohol.
They didn't get
actually
into any of the reasoning. Like, it could have been, we don't want any alcohol because of X, or we don't even know how strongly they felt about the vegan situation. Like, if someone's
Yeah.
eating meat in the corner, do they care? You know?
Well, because it's an alcohol-free wedding. It's not like, oh, it's not open bar. I don't know what this venue is or something, but I am curious about the specific wording on that. If it's like no alcohol,
Right.
or if it's like bring your own or something. So that does make me wonder if it's more serious circumstances. All right, well, moving on. Am I the asshole for telling my roommate that I don't give a about her boyfriend's allergies?
Oh, here we go.
I mean, even the wording of that kind of implies
Yeah.
yes. But let's
okay,
see.
damn.
Let's see. I'll hold back my judgment for now.
I, a 24-year-old woman, have been living with my roommate, Layla, who's 25 and also a woman, for about 10 months. We have a 2-year lease, so I really want to fix this so we're not miserable for the next year, and to start, I need to see if I'm in the wrong. Layla started dating Kyle about 6 months ago. Kyle has severe food allergies to shellfish, nuts, and soy, as well as a lot more mild/moderate allergies. I use nuts and soy a lot in my cooking and some occasional shrimp. At first, Layla would tell me that Kyle was coming over and I would just adjust whatever I was planning on making if it was something that would be aerosolized, mostly nuts, and this was fine. He's never had any reactions at our apartment from my food. But it slowly escalated, and now they want me not to keep any ingredient in the apartment that could cause him anaphylaxis, even if I'm not actively eating or cooking it while he's over. I've refused, and they've both pushed back a lot on it, and I snapped a little and told them I don't give a about his allergies. I can accommodate him to an extent, but I don't care if the contents of my cabinet make him uncomfortable. He doesn't need to be near my things at all. They're being very dramatic and insisting I'm gonna kill him with my selfishness by having closed jars of nuts in the kitchen I pay to use. But I'm not going to have my diet restricted by someone who doesn't even live here. Layla isn't speaking to me at all right now, and I feel a little bad now because I do understand how serious allergies are, but I also think they're overextending boundaries by telling me that I can or can't eat what I can or can't eat when he's not even here. So I should say the verdict on here is not the asshole. Reddit's like, you're not the asshole. And I see the reasoning there of like, this is your apartment. Your roommate is not allergic to anything. And I believe she started dating Kyle after they were already roommates.
Yeah.
So, they had their agreement. They had everything. She was already cooking these foods.
Also, like, she said, like, I don't give a but I mean, she clearly did.
She clearly gives a
She did make an effort in the beginning to, like, not cook those things around him. And
what's strange is that she describes how he's not had a reaction, but she has made the accommodations. But out of seemingly nowhere, according to this, they suddenly are like, no, you need to now take out everything.
Yeah, there was never a reaction to it before. So
Yeah, no, it's not like an incident happened.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, okay, sorry, can we please? I don't know. It is strange. It's like it's a little from the roommate. It seems a little controlling. I wonder how much this is coming from the boyfriend and how much is coming from the roommate.
Yeah. It seems like they had a pretty good compromise going that was working for everyone, and it was very reasonable, and it was communicative and they were all on the same page. And
Yeah.
it sounds like she kind of had some of these outbursts that would be considered asshole adjacent. It's like, I don't give a about his allergies. That was like an asshole like outburst. But
Definitely,
it sounds like it's because it caught her off guard after feeling like they had already
Yeah.
found a good compromise. So I can see why she had those outbursts.
Yeah, I think what's also tough here is if it was her roommate who had the allergies.
Right.
I get that. You're living under their roof. They're paying to be there. That's more understandable. This is someone she started dating after they were living there.
Yeah.
That she's asking her to change her entire lifestyle for. And it's like, could you go and just stay with your boyfriend then? Like, can you go visit him there more often? Like, and whenever if he comes here less, I can really try to clean the place and make sure it's not. But this almost feels like the step of like, well, I want Kyle to live here.
It does.
It gives me that vibe. And what I always wonder too with these Reddit stories with roommates specifically is I'm like, okay, so she's drawing this line about the allergies. What other things are happening in the house? Like, is there other things that they're upset at each other about
Probably.
that are not being addressed? That it's almost like there's a war going on that we're not seeing.
Yeah. It seems like it's about this, but there's like twice as much stuff going on probably.
And there is an update.
Oh.
I've just gotten word that there's
The boyfriend has died.
There was a particle in the air.
Yeah, she busted one nut open, and it was all over.
I sat down with Layla a few days after my initial post and really talked with her about why I felt her and Kyle's request was unacceptable, and I laid out my biggest concerns. I eat mostly plants, so nuts and soy are like 50% of my protein. So my grocery bill would increase because I'd have to make it up in animal products. Who's going to pay for that? I'm not vegetarian, but I don't really want to eat like that, and I definitely don't want to pay for it. So would they make up that increase? I honestly didn't trust them to stop there. I already did what I felt was reasonable accommodation, and it wasn't enough, so how long till they take coconut, eggs, and tomatoes from me too? It was weird. Yeah,
Then they're gonna take my job.
they're gonna take everything from me. You're gonna take my kids.
First they took my nuts, and I said nothing.
Then they took my kidney.
It was weird as to ask me in the first place, and I felt really disrespected because this is my home, and I don't take second place to a guest. I can to her personally, of course, but that doesn't extend to the apartment. I said I would agree to continue not using his serious allergens when he was present or soon to be, and that was the line. It didn't go over well at all, and Layla told me I was overreacting and I could just do it, and kept talking over me when I tried to say that I wouldn't. Eventually, she slipped up with the, well, what if he moved in? And I said absolutely not and ended the conversation with her for the night. Called it.
Yeah, you did.
We argued in circles about it for nearly 2 weeks, and once it was out, she didn't drop it. I realized it wasn't going to get better, so I did what I didn't want to do and told her that I was going to the landlord about breaking my part of the lease, and she freaked out. I don't know where Kyle's money goes, but apparently he doesn't have any because she was yelling about not being able to afford it on her own, and he couldn't help even if he moved in. I told her that this had gone way too far, and I didn't think I could be happy living here with her anymore. If it were easier for her to leave instead, that would be fine too. She was really upset, and I said I wouldn't force her out or leave her suddenly on the lease alone, but it was one or the other. Eventually, she accepted it and decided she would move back in with her dad. That was the end of April, and she's fully moved out as of this week. My childhood best friend, Allie, has been flip-flopping on moving to my city for forever now, and me calling and saying I had a cheap open bedroom if she came right away got her to finally pull the trigger on it. And it helped Layla out because she didn't have to pay to break the lease since I agreed to cover the full rent at my own risk. Allie has stuff to tie up in our home state still, but she's already sent me half of July's rent. I just got to squeeze for a little while, but I'll make it. I'm sure I'm super excited to see her and show her around. Plus, we've been cooking together since 4th grade, so that'll be a nice change. And I can get a cat. It's been a bit of a rough couple months, but I'm very happy with how things are looking right now, so I just wanted to share all that with you guys. Well, it worked out for her.
There we go.
All right.
There you
Everything
go.
happens for a reason.
And she wanted her boyfriend to move in.
Well,
yeah.
Perfect sense.
It's like they were prepping for that situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and I'm surprised that the boyfriend and Layla are still together. surprised he hasn't had any reactions to her because she sounds kind of nuts.
Anthony's like, I'm out.
Is there a revoke by
Sorry.
Smosh button?
Yeah.
Revoke! I'm out.
That was a terrible joke. And I also understand people being overly cautious about allergies.
Oh,
it's like
of
when you
course.
have like an anaphylactic event, it's a pretty traumatizing thing, and you don't ever want to be in that situation again. So
No, yeah, I would be
get it.
terrified of causing an
Yeah.
allergic reaction in someone. I'd be like, oh my God, oh my freaking God. Like for one, an episode of Eat It or Eat It, I made cookies and some other things. But one of the things involved nuts, one of them didn't. And I was like, I realized afterward that I'm like, oh, I didn't wash the like kitchen area properly. So I like texted, because I know Kiana's allergic to nuts. So I texted her, I was like, by the way, I didn't properly like clean the area and stuff. So everything that I'm bringing tomorrow is contaminated. Like, just so you know.
At like 10 p.m.
Just so you know. I was like, I'm texting you now so I don't forget and bring it in. Like, I'm letting you know. Just don't eat any of it. Because I'm terrified of that. But I think that this is less about allergies and more about like asking to accommodate a partner of a roommate.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's something either of you guys can relate to if you ever dealt with that.
You did have a partner suddenly move in with us.
I know. I was gonna bring that because we were talking. Yeah, when we were talking about like, oh, the partner like moving in and like not telling. I was gonna be like, hey, remember that time when like I didn't really tell you, but my partner was gonna be moving in.
And then they lived with us for a year and a half?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had an additional roommate for a while.
All right, let's move on here.
It's really fun. We were both thinking about that.
Here we go. Am I the asshole for not letting my apartment mate, 21 female, back inside after she got spat upon by a camel?
What?
I'm gonna need to take a drink for that one.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm dying to know where this is.
Yeah, that's a fascinating type.
Brooklyn.
So this takes place in Ohio.
It would be Ohio.
This just happened and it's been super stressful. Wondering if I made the right decision. I share an apartment with another woman and we've been decent enough acquaintances. I'm the primary tenant, but she's subleasing and the landlord is okay with that. Apparently she walked out to this fair that had all sorts of attractions and animals. It was walking distance about a mile away from our unit. I remember it being advertised but didn't go. Well, to put it plainly, she got spat on by a camel. She texted me shortly after it happened to warn me that she was coming home. I thought, okay, what's the big deal? Come home. I saw her coming up the steps, looking miserable, through the window and went out to the porch to greet her, and instantly I was hit with the most unbelievable, vile smell I've ever smelled from a good 20 feet away. I really couldn't take it. I got only a whiff and I could feel my stomach churning. I went back inside and closed the door. She came up and tried to get inside with her key, but I was practically begging her, no, whatever happened, you can't come in like that. She was yelling, why did I live here? And then was practically crying that she had nowhere else to go. I said, I'm sorry, but there's no way. I can't let that smell in here. I could smell her through the door. I was gagging. I suggested that she find a hose or shower somewhere or jump in a creek or something.
Jump in a creek.
Anything but coming in like that, but she was saying no store would let her in. But I held firm. I held the door closed until she walked away. She came back an hour later soaking wet. Maybe she had jumped in a creek. And opened the door. I couldn't just sit there holding it shut all day. And the smell was maybe barely better, but still horrific. She jumped straight into the shower, but I can still faintly smell it throughout our whole living room, and it's making me feel absolutely sick. Now we're both furious at each other. I'm mad that she came back in before the smell was gone, and now the whole place smells unbearable. She's furious that I dared to hold the door shut and keep her out, and is saying that she'll be talking to the landlord or a lawyer because that can't be legal, but I don't know what else I could have done. This is dreadful. Am I the asshole?
This
Wow.
is dreadful.
There's a lot there.
Holy.
So we did a little research on this.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
A camel will bring some of its stomach contents into its mouth, mix them with saliva, this is called cud, and spit it if they are feeling threatened or have been provoked by another animal or a human.
So it's like vomit.
So it's
Yeah.
like a the horrible vomit.
I've heard they spit.
I had no idea it smelled.
But it's not just saliva. It's like an acid, gross. So I guess it's more like a skunk type of defense.
Yeah.
The verdict is asshole, and I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely.
Go
agree.
find a creek.
Go find a creek!
There's no creeks for miles, but just go. It's
That's so sad.
or find a store or hose.
She was saying no stores will let me in.
Also,
They're all like, "Get out!"
what is a store gonna do? Oh yes, come
A
to our
CVS
shower.
holding the electric doors shut, like, no!
This almost sounded like a zombie story.
Yeah.
Like keeping the front.
No, it's like you can't keep
A
it
public
shut.
pool, and they're like, get out, get out!
I think that's huge asshole behavior. She's
Yeah,
literally
man.
holding the door shut
Yeah.
while she's trying to get the key open
You
That's
can't hold
insane.
someone away from coming into their home.
to shower. Like
Yeah, it's
you could
like,
step out. She could have stepped outside.
I
for
would
a
have been like,
bit.
I need to leave.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave. Can you please, like, after you're done showering and stuff, like, Febreze the shit out of our
Yeah, it's
place?
not like
Yeah.
she's gonna roll around the ground.
Yeah, she just wants to get back and shower. She hates the smell too.
Yeah.
Some comments. You're the asshole, and it's likely illegal. If she's
Yeah.
paying rent to live there, you can't just randomly lock her out because you don't like how she smells. When people are dirty and gross, the place they clean themselves up is their bathroom,
Yeah.
which you locked her from,
Yeah.
blocked her from. The right thing to do would have been to leave while she gets cleaned up and come back with air fresheners. Someone else said, you're the asshole and absolutely vile. That's her home. That's where she's meant to clean off. Where else was she meant to do that? That's absolutely disgusting of you to do. Sure, it smelt, but she was probably embarrassed and in a terrible mood. Imagine having to walk home like that too, and just thinking of a nice shower and curling up in bed to just have someone hold the little door closed on the apartment you pay to live in. Last person said, you could have locked yourself in your room after opening up all the windows, sprayed the place down with Febreze after, or just been a decent human being. I hope there's some repercussions for what you did because you sound absolutely vile and inconsiderate.
Yeah, it's just like inhumane. Like it just doesn't. She's not treating her like a human being. She's treating her like a dog.
Yeah.
Worse
And
than a dog.
I can't. What really hits.
That's true because I would bring whenever my dog got sprayed by a skunk, I would bring her into the house. I wouldn't go find a creek.
Find a creek.
Get shoo.
What does a camel's breath smell like? It smells like a wet, slimy compost pile on a warm, nasty day. Oh.
Okay.
Good. I mean, look, I've been to a petting zoo. Animals smell pretty bad, but it sounds like they can make you smell like a camel.
Even worse.
But what hits is like, yeah, that whenever you're like f***ed up, like, you know what I mean? When you're f***ed up and you're like, oh my God, I'm about to get home and I'm about to shower and I'm about to like be done with this.
Yeah.
And then you get home and you're locked out. But I feel like I've experienced similar things where you're like, oh, like either your clothes are messy or you just feel exhausted and then you run into another obstacle.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I thought I was gonna be home free soon. Like,
And it'd be one thing if the door was just locked. But literally, she's holding
there.
the door
Oh, you're like,
shut.
"Ah!"
Asshole.
Asshole. All right, next story. Am I the asshole for dropping our dinner on the ground and walking out when my boyfriend asked me, what's for dinner tonight, bitch?
Wait a second. Did one of my partners post this?
Jesus.
But I said like bitch. Like I
Yeah,
said it
true.
as a
How many
joke.
eyes were in the bitch, right? Is it just one eye?
Oh, it's just one.
Oh, then that's not.
Oh yeah, that's not okay. That's not okay. You gotta have it like bitch.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. All right. Legend.
I was so. All right.
Everyone's like Ian, stop. Shut your fucking mouth.
Ian, I'm not gonna buy
Sorry.
Smosh anymore.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm
You
getting
keep this up.
dude. I'm getting zooted off this matcha latte.
Yeah.
So
Do you know how much caffeine is in that?
I was over my boyfriend's apartment this weekend and I was cooking dinner because he was studying for exams. I made pasta and a chunky sauce with meatballs and veggies. I told him dinner was ready and he goes, what's for dinner tonight, bitch? And it's in all caps. Bitch is in all caps.
Okay.
What's for dinner tonight, bitch?
Wait, what's the Smosh way that it would have been done?
be like bitch. You have to have that bitch.
What's for dinner tonight? Bitch! Or that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's getting too like
With like a lot of emphasis on the last word.
Yeah.
I was fed up. I'd had a pretty rough day with work, and I have some awfully bad associations with that word being used by other people in my life who were pretty abusive. So I was so irritated that I dropped the pot of pasta sauce I'd been carrying right on the ground and was like, well, nothing's for dinner tonight now, and I better not hear you using that word again. It's for the girls. He was freaking out about how sauce had landed on his rug, and he even said, "You're seriously acting like a bitch right now. I don't know what else to call it."
Whoa, okay.
There's some other shit going on.
Now
Wrong
invented.
bitch.
I just walked out and got takeout for myself and went to my friend's house. She thought it was funny, but my boyfriend was furious. He kept texting and calling and sending me voice memos trying to explain that saying, "What's for dinner tonight, bitch?" was a TikTok trend, and that he was just quoting something as a joke to put on TikTok. I thought that was the shittiest excuse ever. It doesn't matter if he saw it as a joke or stole the joke, it was still disrespectful. But it didn't change the fact that he thought that was funny, to demean me when I was trying to do him a favor. Like hell, I came over when he was studying to make a home-cooked dinner, and he decides it's time for jokes, so I put my phone on Don't Disturb for the night and split a bottle of wine with my friend and her roommate. The next morning, he was sending me angry texts demanding I clean his rug because he was still too busy with exams to do it. I was shocked he left it overnight. That's disgusting.
The mess I made.
Yeah, I texted him back saying, "Yeah, so that's the bitch tax, honey. Leave me alone till you're ready to handle your own cooking and cleaning because this bitch isn't anymore. Also, it's vile you left that soaking in all night." He called me and told me that he was okay with doing his own household work, but I did throw a full pot of sauce at the ground, so that's on me to clean up. I told him, "Yeah, no, I'm not comfortable doing chores for you if you see me like your bitch." He told me he didn't, and it was just a trend, and I got pissed off he was playing that TikTok trend BS excuse again, and I told him, "Well, I'm starting a trend called saucing, where as a little joke, people throw pasta sauce around. You can't be mad because just a little trend, a little jokey joke, just a little prank, bro." He got really pissed off and hung up on me, and now I'm seriously wondering if this dumb f***ing TikTok joke is gonna be the end of things between us. Am I the asshole now? How I reacted when my boyfriend asked me, "What's for dinner tonight, bitch?" Edit to address a comment I've gotten a lot, and I don't have time to reply every time. But did you tell him not to call you a bitch? Like, how would he know otherwise? Honestly, if someone has gotten to the age of 30 and not realized that women, as a whole, do not like having demeaning slurs used against them, they're beyond my help. This isn't something that needs to be told. I shouldn't have to go through life like, "Hey man, just in case you were thinking I might like demeaning slurs against my gender used on me, I don't actually." And if you're about to comment something like that, let me just tell you in no uncertain terms, women do not like being called bitches by men. Do not call women bitches. If you needed to be told that it is unkind, consider yourself officially told. Now you have no excuse to not understand.
Yeah.
I think it really hits. I mean, look, it doesn't matter what age he is, but when she's like, "Yeah, he's 30 years old," I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
A TikTok trend, like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like, from looking at this one event in a vacuum, like, I'm sure some people could see that and be like, she overreacted. But I guarantee, like, with the way that he talked to her, I'm sure that he's talked in similar ways to her and she's communicated to him that she doesn't appreciate that.
Yeah.
And he's probably ignored it and goes, "Oh, it's a funny TikTok trend," which is like, what a bad excuse.
It's a bad excuse. The adding of the like, "Well, now you actually are acting like a bitch."
Yeah, that
Yeah.
really sealed
Okay,
it.
that sealed it of
yeah.
like, you probably do talk disrespectfully to her.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be one thing if they joked around together and it was like
Totally.
established that they call each other that kind of thing, but
Right.
I mean, clearly it completely caught her off guard because this was something that was hard set in stone for her of like, this is not a line that you cross.
Yeah.
So it feels like he should have, I mean, it doesn't say how long they've been together, but it feels
Yeah.
like they probably should have, he probably knew.
He probably did know.
You got to test those waters before you bring out the big guns. You know, and that word is one of the big guns. So you
Yeah.
gotta make sure that your partner is like chill with that.
But I
kind of
agree.
language.
Like relationships, people in relationships, they gauge like, what are we comfortable with joking about and stuff.
Yeah.
And he said a joke that clearly offended her.
Oh, yeah.
That he, as we are either assuming or we don't know for sure, that it's like there's clearly been stuff before this,
Yeah.
and he's not taking her feelings into account.
A lot of times people joke and use that kind of word with each other because they know, like it's so established that they would never actually mean that, or it's almost funny because they would never say that.
Sure.
But the fact that he's saying it and she feels like he meant it means that there's other stuff that's there.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And what I can't get over is that he did leave the sauce.
He's like, that's for you to clean up. You did that.
Well, yeah, and the fact that he's angry about it.
Yeah.
That he's like,
Yeah.
the fact that he got that this happened and his response is anger rather than like apologizing and trying to fix things and just getting angry and sending angry text messages. It's like, I think there's a bit of history here.
Yeah, I feel like it could have been like immediately, I did not know that was going to offend you, and I'm so sorry. Let's make this right. But he doubled down and said, "You are acting like a bitch right now."
Yeah.
Icky.
No,
Yeah.
that's where it's you lost me before, but like that's what it's like. All right, buddy, you're gone. Some comments here. Not the asshole. I Googled the trend, and it is all about seeing how women react to a knowingly offensive comment, and usually they are offended. These jokes aren't funny. Well, you reacted. He got his wish. Effed around and found out he needs to grow up. So he was also clearly filming her.
Yeah.
Oh
as
yeah,
she did this.
Yeah,
she
he
did
said-
mention
Yeah, he
it.
said it was a trend, and
He wanted to get her reaction.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
So,
so,
well, you
that's
got it,
so
bro.
cringy. Not the asshole, and yes, this should be the end of you two. He sounds like a total asshole, and leaving that on the floor overnight is just nasty. Last comment here. Not the asshole, your gut response, shock and rage at him taking you for granted to the point of demeaning you was the right one from the beginning. Him leaving the mess overnight, expecting you to come back and clean it up just confirms it. He doesn't respect you. Yeah.
Yeah, and she probably felt extra disrespected because she probably didn't want to cook him dinner that night, and she was going out of her way
Yeah,
for
she was
him.
helping him out.
Yeah,
He's like, this is gonna give me so much clout.
yeah, it's gonna be so fun.
Bro.
Like, she's doing this favor for me, and I disrespect her.
Yeah, like, look, there's a lot of TikTok trends. A lot of them are totally cool and funny.
Wait,
and
so you're
fun.
telling me that there's sexist things on TikTok?
Yeah.
What?
All right, here we go. Okay, so this is from Am I the Butt Face?
Is this for like kids?
A different subreddit.
Yeah,
So
is this for kids that don't want to say asshole?
It's like Am I the Asshole, but with less rules. There's a lot of parameters in Am I the Asshole, the subreddit. Like mods have created a lot of rules. So there's a different subreddit called Am I the Butt Face, which allows for them to kind of tell stories that go around the rules of Am I the Asshole.
Got it.
Got it.
But this was reposted on Am I the Devil, so it's gonna be good.
Okay.
All right. Am I the butt face for confronting him on why he never loved me in front of his husband? Okay. Wes and I had been best friends, been BFFs for our entire lives. I had it so bad for him that when he was 15 and couldn't afford a phone, I saved up money to buy a 1K iPhone for him, but lied and said I had gotten it for free from my parents. When he came out as bi, even my parents fully accepted we would end up together. I was really in love. I even followed him to the college he picked. I watched him sleep with literally any remotely attractive person and didn't say anything because I wanted him to have fun, but it wasn't easy. But then he got into a bad accident. After helping him through the recovery, I confessed my feelings for him, and it did not go well. It was obvious from his resigned expression he already knew, but he said he didn't feel the same way, and he wasn't planning on getting married, that he was too damaged. I was a mess. The next day, I ended up drinking and went over to his place and begged him to love me. He said I was the best person he knew, but he can't lie about how he feels. I asked him to kiss me so I could prove to him we were meant to be, but he said no.
Stop it.
I still begged, saying, please, let me love you. Let me show you. He ended up letting me kiss him, but he pinned my hands to my chest so I couldn't do more. I felt so horrible about it the next day. I was prepared to beg his forgiveness, but he told me it was fine, that he didn't feel taken advantage of, so I could stop beating myself up over it. But he admitted that he didn't want it to happen again, meaning the kiss. I cut him out of my life, even though it was hard, but I saw him yesterday with his husband at a bar. It had been 4 years. I had a few drinks, and I confronted him.
Oh boy.
I asked to talk privately, but his husband wasn't cool with it. So I asked in front of his husband and their friends why he lied to me about not wanting to get married. He was clearly embarrassed and taken aback, but answered and said he didn't lie and that things change. I said he needed to tell me the reason he doesn't want to be with me because I deserved to know. Was it my looks, my personality? Did I say something wrong? But he said no to all of that. He said I was great, that I did nothing wrong, but he only ever thought of me as a brother, that there were no feelings. That really pissed me off because it felt like he's lying. The brothers thing sounds like Sweet Home Alabama shit. I told him he was missing out. I would have loved him forever, but if that's his choice, that's on him. He said neither of us are missing out, that we were meant to be with other people. Before I left, I said he would never get how badly he hurt me. He was apologizing a lot and said he hopes I find happiness, but I walked away. His husband, by the way, was being really hostile to the whole conversation and kept telling me to move on and saying, he doesn't want you. He seems like an ass. Am I the butt face? Am I the butt face for confronting them?
Holy.
Oh.
Wow. Wow, the entitlement is
Yeah.
out of control.
It's so personal.
And this is from their perspective. I think this person probably is even more intense.
Yeah.
Because hearing that he was apologizing a lot means that it's like, he's like scared. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Like he just wants this person to get away.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Scary. That's scary.
You're gonna let me love you and you're gonna like it.
The kissing thing,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
really uncomfy.
Yeah, let me kiss you. You're gonna see how much you're missing out on.
God.
Yeah, there's some serious like entitlement.
I'd say
issues
butt face.
going on. Definite butt face.
Definitely a butt face. Probably more.
Probably a creep. Probably, that's illegal.
Some comments here. Unrequited obsession. I see a large therapy bill in this person's future. Either that or prison time from stalking. Someone else says, that was a big asshole move on your part. I promise you that every single person who was forced to listen to you pitch this little hissy was absolutely dying of embarrassment for you. You need therapy, and you need it badly. This ish with Wes is borderline stalker BS, and you come off sounding 1,000% unhinged. Yeah. The man has spent half his life trying to keep you at arm's length while also trying not to hurt your feelings. Leave him alone.
Yeah, I wonder, how did he end up in a bar? How did they end up in the same bar 4 years later?
Right, it's very coincidental, and they just brush over those details. You could almost assume based on the other behavior that it was purposeful.
I think there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, and based on the ages, they've held this flame for like minimum 10 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and
it sounds like the husband knows who this guy is.
Yeah, there's been discussions.
Like,
there's been lots of discussions.
Based off the way the husband was responding, it's like, oh, this guy knows this history, which makes me think, this guy's been a little stalker.
Huge issues, and everything was like a personal reflection of, what does it mean about me? Why don't you love me? Is it my looks? Is it my personality? Yeah. What is it? And they couldn't just accept that it just wasn't there.
It's like they've been married for 4 years.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's done. People change.
I think people get this idea in their head that there's one soulmate in the entire universe for them, and that they found them. And that's where the stalker obsession starts. Yeah. When in reality, obviously, there are millions of people that you can.
And also, like, to think that you have to qualify for somebody.
Yeah.
That you have that if you check off all the boxes, which is why there's like a lot of like the incel communities, like, I don't get it. Like, I work out. Like, I'm like ripped and blah blah blah, and like this person's 6 feet, and
I checked all the boxes.
And it's like, it's not about checking off the like. You're not trying to like fill out like an application. Like, like you're never gonna, if somebody's not into you, getting a 6-pack isn't gonna change that.
Yeah, I think another thing too is people who felt a certain way about someone and then they don't see them for years and think like, oh, they're gonna be the same exact person. We can pick this back up again. Like maybe it'll work now. It's like, if it's been 4 years or more, that's a different person.
Yeah.
That's a whole new person, but most likely. And if they're married and stuff, and like, they couldn't accept that. They're like,
even
no.
saying like, you said you would never get married so many years ago.
Yeah. Way back then.
When we were 26.
And he says like, yeah, that was true. That was true then.
Which can be true.
But I'm a different person now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Feel so bad for that person that has to deal with.
I hope after this was posted that the original poster got the hint and stopped contacting them, but probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
All right, here we go. Am I the asshole for taking my sisters and their husbands to see Garth Brooks when my friends didn't pay? I was lucky enough to snag 6 tickets to see Garth Brooks in Vegas. My friends and I had made plans to go as 3 couples, but I can't really afford to pay for 6 tickets. The concert is kind of expensive. I told my friends that I needed the money for the tickets before my credit card was due. They both promised they would get it to me. I reminded them a few times, and they both forgot. I called my sister and asked if she knew anyone who might like to go. She said that she and my stepsister had been talking about going. We decided to make it a family trip. They paid me immediately, and I transferred the tickets for each of them. Last week, one of my friends saw that I posted on Facebook about going with my sisters. She asked why I was going twice. I told her I wasn't. I needed to pay my credit card bill, so I sold 4 of the tickets. They went ballistic. I do not have any credit card debt as I pay my bill in full every month. They both assumed I would be okay just paying the minimum monthly payment like they do. They expected me to save them the tickets even though they didn't pay me. I told them both to check their texts and see where I had agreed to that. I sent them screenshots of where they both agreed to pay me before my bill was due. They're pissed because all the tickets left are either resale or very expensive floor seats. I am mad at them for trying to screw me with my credit. They are mad at me because they had booked time off to go to the concert. Am I the asshole?
Well, first off, you never pay just your minimum on your credit cards.
No.
Always try to pay the balance.
You're like,
get that
future me will worry about that problem.
Yeah, get that taken care of.
This one is a little bit gray, though, because I feel like there could have been, not an ultimatum, but like this is your last chance.
Yeah.
If it's not happening today, it's not happening at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like that was necessarily given.
Well, she does say she sent screenshots of when they agreed to pay before the bill. I think she sent reminders. I told my friends that I needed the money for the tickets before my credit card was due. They both promised. I reminded them a few times.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they both forgot.
Okay.
So I do think there was multiple times here. The verdict is not the asshole. I don't think they're necessarily an asshole for all of this. I guess what we're saying is it could have been like, this is the last chance I'm about to sell them to my sisters.
Yeah. There could have
I'm
been
going
that-
to sell them. I'm going to sell them to my sisters
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't pay them right now.
I think that's the only thing that was missing.
Yeah.
But even without it, I don't think it's necessarily asshole behavior when it's already been discussed so
If
thoroughly.
you gave them a few times.
I would, if I was that friend, like I would be like a little upset, but I would also understand like, oh, I f***ed up.
Yeah.
Like
Be
that was on me. Like if you reminded me multiple times and I just completely ignored it, then yeah, I mean it's my fault.
Yeah, for sure. The comments here, not the asshole at all. You gave them plenty of warnings in writing. There's really not much more you could have done. You are super responsible in making sure you pay off your balance every month. Way to go. But I will add one thing. Even if you just pay the minimum required on your credit card, that won't screw with your credit. All it will do is charge you interest for the month. Whereas when you pay the balance in full, there's no interest added.
Yeah.
Just an added FYI.
Well, yeah, the f***ing interest is insane. Like if you only pay your minimum, I mean, even if you have a small amount in your bank account and you're only paying the minimum every month, you won't wind up paying off your credit card for like 10 years.
OP responds to that saying, thanks, I get that. But I've seen too many of my friends and coworkers fall into a pit with credit card debt. I'm not interested in that slippery slope. Someone else said, not the asshole. The tickets were never theirs because they never bothered to pay you for them or ask if you could make other arrangements, which would only be acceptable if it was okay with you. If they can't remember to pay you before the concert, what kind of odds would you have given that they would remember to pay you back after the concert? Some of these judgments are really easy. Not the asshole. They don't pay, they don't go. No excuse here. They had multiple reminders and opportunities. Maybe they'll learn to keep their promises, but it doesn't look promising if they're angry at you and not their own inactions. Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it's just, that is the cut and dry factor of it. I'm not saying they're the asshole. They are not the asshole. But yeah, if it was my situation, I think I would have if I'm about to like sell them, I would have been like, here's what's about to happen. I'm communicating what's about to happen.
Deadline.
I've reminded you several times. I'm about to do this right now.
Totally.
You have an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird to like not let them know like about the switch over. But yeah, I not the asshole at all. Pay off your balance.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I'm so surprised that there's that many people that want to go see Garth Brooks. That's impressive.
People love Garth Brooks,
Very
man.
well.
Apparently, yeah.
People love Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
There's been several concert related stories. There was one we read where a woman missed her brother-in-law's funeral for Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not blood related.
I got for that one because I said our song is the only good Taylor Swift song. That's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. She has other good songs, guys.
Is this
Come
your
on.
apology video?
Name one.
This is my apology video.
Okay, wait. Name one.
Mean actually was one of my. I like that one a lot. I like a lot of her older stuff, but I also like what's the one 1980. What's the one with Shake It Off? That album.
That's an old one now.
Okay. All right. Here's our last story.
Okay. Is it the spiciest?
I don't know.
It's something.
Okay.
It's something. R true off my chest. I don't think my boss knows that I know there's a camera in my office.
Oh.
Oh my
Oh
god.
God.
Holy sh.
Um.
Wow.
Wait, was this posted from Smosh? Was this posted from a Smosh employee?
Luckily,
No, who has
Did
mouths
they?
here?
we don't have.
Did they find out? Did they
I
find
will
out?
say I do want a fun little. Oh, this happened, recently.
Oh yeah.
I over the course of a month, I slowly hid fake bananas in Ian's office.
Yeah.
I would tape them underneath things. I would hide them, stash them in his couch. There was close to about 30 bananas in his office, and they were in there for days, and he had no idea.
That's actually why I wanted to buy Smosh again, is because I wanted to own those bananas.
yeah, specifically
Yeah.
just the bananas.
The-
Yeah.
Well, they're back in my office
Oh,
again.
good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we own 30
Fake
very,
bananas.
very. Okay, they're fake.
They're like styrofoam.
Yeah.
The ones that are like in like,
Yeah. They'll last forever.
they'll be good forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, forever.
And they're an investment.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start because I'm not even sure if this is weird or not. It's weird.
It's already weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started at this new job not long ago, and since the first day, I've known there was a camera in my office. I don't think it's necessarily weird to have cameras in an office setting. There's cameras in all sorts of places for all kinds of reasons, but the camera in my office isn't any sort of built-in fixture. And my individual office room is the only office with a camera in it. On my first day of the job, I realized my boss was too aware of my actions.
Oh.
He said something to me that threw me off, and I knew he wouldn't have brought it up unless he had been watching me do something. It was just too coincidental. But it was casual at the same time, so it wasn't a direct allusion to the camera he has. But immediately after the incident, I scanned around the room, and I found a camera nestled into a cubby with a small wire that led into his adjacent office.
Bro.
My other boss has also indirectly responded to my actions in the group chat. The few times I had spent an excessive amount of time on my phone were times that the, hey guys, let me know if you guys need anything to work on. I know things are slow, messages would trickle in. Anything that seemed to hint at me being watched was also said or done ambiguously enough that they weren't revealing anything about being able to see me, as if I'm not supposed to know I'm being watched, and that's what is unsettling to me. The camera is pointed directly at me, not the door, not the front of my desk, not anywhere else that would make sense for security. I've looked at everyone else's office and didn't see a single camera. The camera is pointed specifically at me, and I don't even deal with money or anything that could be stolen. I don't know if I should bring this up. I'm not entirely mad, and I guess I understand the reasoning, like making sure I'm on task or some shit. It just bothers me a little that I can be watched whenever, and they never even disclose that. I feel like someone being constantly monitored has the right to know that they are, especially since I'm the only one being watched like this. I at least used it to my advantage because I at least know not to be on my phone, LOL. So in the comments, we can glean that she states that she is a 22-year-old woman.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If we feel that's important.
Yeah, I was a little curious about if it was a woman.
Yeah.
I have a favorite part about all this.
Yeah.
Just how much time
Yep.
are these people spending watching
Watching
her
Yep.
do nothing and complaining about her doing nothing?
That's management, baby. That's what being a manager is all about. You just watch other people work.
Or not work.
I am kind of surprised at her reaction.
Yeah,
So, like,
I'm,
how chill she is?
I'm actually
She's
like
being
I'm actually kind
extremely
of
chill.
disappointed.
Yeah.
I would just be like, turn the camera away.
Yeah, first
I would turn the camera away and then see if it gets moved back.
Yeah.
See if anyone says anything.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, you didn't disclose that. That is illegal.
Yeah.
If I moved it and I saw it get moved back, I would then go to HR.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
immediately.
hey, there's a camera in my office.
Yeah.
I moved it away. It keeps me getting moved back. That's illegal. It is illegal.
I wonder if if it's like a trial that they run on like new employees.
It
Like,
should still be discussed.
But it's disclosed.
I
disclose
agree.
it.
Either way, it's gross. Like, and I think a lot of companies nowadays are obsessed with productivity and efficiency, and especially in the time of like remote work, I've heard of like companies like installing software on computers that will like track the person's productivity, which is crazy because like I think humans have always been as productive as ever, but now we have technology to hold people to account. So it's like even like back in the day, you know, like maybe in the 50s when corporate office jobs were just starting, I'm sure people weren't working, you know, nonstop from sitting down in their chair to leaving home.
Right.
Yeah.
And now there's this expectation of like that's what it needs to be, and you have to always be working. And now we have technology to hold you to that account. It's like it's scary.
It's weird. I also think creating a environment of distrust is not going to create trust.
Yeah.
amongst your
Exactly.
employees and everything.
And I think the best way for people to feel motivated to work is when they feel trusted, when they feel respected, when they feel like they can work at a pace that works for them as long as they get the work done, you know, that kind of thing. But to say you need to always be working 100% of the time and I'm going to watch you to make sure.
It's weird. And I also feel like how you monitor production is just like, hey, did you do your job? You did it.
Yeah.
I don't care when you did it, how you did it, like you did it. Like we can see what needs to be done.
And if your job is to be the one to like make sure that somebody else is pulling the lever, then that's a bullshit job.
Yeah, you're the one without the job if you're sitting there just watching
Yeah,
someone
they're
else.
justifying their job by saying, I'm monitoring the people.
And this is us having the best assumption of why they have
We are being very
camera.
charitable here.
We're being
yeah.
extremely
Oh yeah, we
charitable
haven't.
here.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even like brushed the the fact that she's like a 22-year-old woman.
And it
It's
could be
like-
just a completely creepy,
Yeah.
awful reason. The tough thing legally also is that we're in California. The laws are a certain way here. The laws are different per state, different per country. So I know audio, you can't, it's two-party consent. So they can't record the audio. This is similar laws to us here in California. But video, I guess, it might be legal. I don't know, but if that needs to be disclosed or not is the question.
It still provides so much, or it still brings so much distrust.
Oh my God, it's still stupid as hell.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's just so disappointing, like hearing how okay with it this person is, and I think that kind of gives you an idea of like where we are. Right
Yeah.
now. Like people are like, no, it's fine.
I know. I feel like if people just drew a hard line about that, I'm just like, no, never gonna work in a situation like that.
Yeah.
But I also know people, like they get a job, they're like, I need this job.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
So I have some comments here. Anytime you are finished with a task and waiting for another one, spend excessive amounts of time staring into the camera. Someone else said, yes, and don't blink at all. Just stare vacantly, directly into the camera. Someone else said, is this your office? Place a nice plant/object in the way of the camera to decorate. If the decoration is moved, ask why. Someone else said, put a hardcover copy of 1984.
No, you know what would be epic is if you took a picture of yourself from that vantage point, printed it out, and then put it in front of the
Oh, that's a super smart move.
Or you get a looping video
Yeah.
of you just working.
I
Always productive.
thought you were going to say to put a copy of Goatsy in front of it.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
put Goatsy in front of it, and then wait, and all of a sudden you hear from the next office, you're just like, oh my God!
and they can't complain, or else they have to admit it, right?
He walks over, vomit on his shirt.
He's like, you seem pretty busy spreading your asshole. Sorry.
All right, so there's an update here. Oh God, I wonder what's gonna happen. I wasn't expecting so many responses. I genuinely appreciate how concerned everyone is about whether or not I'm okay. It makes me feel good knowing a lot of people care about a stranger's well-being. I've seen a lot of comments asking for an update, so this is really the most I have of one. Nothing has changed yet. I haven't brought it up to them because part of me is wondering if they'll eventually remove it. I was curious to see if they would ever bring it up themselves or if I could find a way to hint at the fact that I know. I sort of want them to stay unaware that I know so I can see how they act in response to my actions, to potentially call it out in the future. The top comment is pretty funny about staring into the camera. There were a few times where something ridiculous would happen with something, and I'd stare into the camera for a moment as if I was breaking the fourth wall. LMAO.
Like, what do they think
Jim
you're
from
in
The Office?
The Truman Show? Is that what they think this is?
I don't think I'm going to bring it up just yet. I actually really like working here. I get along with my coworkers, and they pay me decently for what I do. For everyone asking, yes, I'm a woman. I don't think this is as much of a sexual harassment case as it is just a micromanaging thing. They haven't done or said anything to me to make me feel like they were hitting on me, just genuine politeness. My guess for the camera is that they're maybe testing my integrity and seeing how much time I spend on my phone, even out of view of other people. Which I could understand, but wow, I wish there was another way besides a camera on me. There's been a few other micromanagey things that have irked me a little, but I still like my bosses in spite of that. If something changes, like if I start getting the vibe that this is becoming creepy, I'll keep you guys updated. Oh, and also a few things I wanted to mention that a lot of people had ideas about. You guys had good ideas, by the way. Due to where it's at, it would be really hard to cover the camera with anything. I can't exactly reach it, so I'd have to find something like maybe a wide shelf that would block view from underneath it. The wire runs into my boss's office. You can't see the wire from mine, so I'd have to take a pic of it from inside his office, so I don't know if I'm able to evidence collect too easily. I'm also trying to be a bit vague with details because I got a little paranoid about the idea of my bosses somehow coming across this thread. Anyways, I appreciate you guys, and I'm sorry I don't have more thrilling update. I'll let you know if anything changes. This camera must be in a very obvious place, I feel like.
And high up.
It must be, if it's really out in the open and just there, then it's like, okay, they're not trying to hide it.
So weird to
It's
not
so
say
weird.
anything about it.
It's so weird.
It sounds like at this point she's just curious to know what happens. She's like,
She's so chill, man. She's like,
Time to go see that camera.
They're watching my every move.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway, boop, 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 boop.
She kind of gave some details in the comments of what the camera looks like. It's like rectangular, sorta, longer vertically than it is horizontally. The lens doesn't poke outward. It's flush with the rest of the body, so from first glance, it could be mistaken as a speaker. I can't reach high enough to put something to cover it, and it's an abnormal place to decorate, so it'd be obvious I was trying to cover it.
It seems crazy to me to even try to cover it. Like,
yeah.
like if she likes the job and the people are reasonable, I think it's okay to just ask. Like, what is that camera
She could
doing
even
there?
play dumb if she's like not sure it's a camera. If it's like, oh, it looks like a speaker, just be like, I was just so curious, what is that?
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, I don't.
It is. It is strange though, because I feel like the moment, I don't know if it's because I'm a guy or it's different because of any other reasons, but I'd immediately be like, is that a camera in my office? I feel like I would just ask right away.
I would feel so. I wouldn't feel. I'd be so out of my element if I knew that there was a camera on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know her work experience. This could be new for her, and she
Like
could be
fresh
like,
out of
oh, this is normal for
college.
corporate
Yeah.
Or she
America.
thinks she might lose her job if she asks too.
Yeah, that's true. Can
Threatening
be
for her livelihood. So.
Yeah.
intimidating. So I don't know, but hopefully she evenally asks.
I hope so.
I
for,
hope
for my benefit.
I
wanna
know.
I want to know.
You want the update?
I want to know.
But anyways, that was it. Thank you guys.
All right.
Dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, this was so
For,
cool.
I'm a little scarred from a few of those stories.
Yeah. No, that happens.
That's how
every
this
time.
goes. Yeah.
That happens every
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
But Ian, glad to have you back, and Anthony, glad to have you back.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So if y'all haven't heard the spiel before, Anthony and I are writing in and starring and creating sketch comedy on the main Smosh channel now. So it's back to Ian and Anthony sketches. It's a good time. We understand making sketch comedy on YouTube, being ad supported doesn't actually work on YouTube.
It's why there's so much less sketch
yeah.
comedy on there than there used to be.
Yeah.
Because YouTube rewards watch time and how many ads you could place in a video.
Yeah.
And
So
when we decided to come back making sketches, because we really feel like that's that was the foundation that we created those 17 and a half years ago. That we couldn't just do it with ads.
yeah. So we now have memberships on the main channel. So there's a couple different tiers. If your support obviously means a lot to us, you'll have like some bonus content for members. We're gonna do like these like live stream like watch parties for each new upload. So yeah, become a member. Come hang out with us on our streams. Watch the sketches. They're very silly. And yeah, I mean, like it just feels like old times.
It feels like no time has passed.
Yeah,
in a weird way.
yeah. Like I mean, as like people,
As
I
people,
think
we're different. Oh, we've grown a ton, thank God.
Yeah.
It was rough for a
Yeah,
second.
yep. But like, just jumping back into content feels like we're like right back there. It's like zero adjustment time.
Yeah.
Wild.
Exactly. And it fulfills a void in my heart that I had for a long time. I've wanted to create that absurd, that joyful absurdity and bring that to camera again with you.
Yeah.
So thank you guys.
Come join in on the fun.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next Saturday. Courtney and Trevor from the Mythical Kitchen. Love that guy. They're going to be here. We're going to be reading more stupid stories. And yeah, head over to the Smosh channel and become a member. It's going to be exciting. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.